Now, in this next lesson, I want to talk about the BR tag or the line break element that we use for creating line breaks. The line break element or the BR tag is a very useful element for creating divisions of lines, especially if we will be putting some poems or we will be writing an address inside of our document. This is one of the void elements or empty elements that we use for inserting a single line break inside of our document. So let's go and try to apply that here in our project. Just remember that we use the BR tag to enter line breaks and not to add space between paragraphs. And we do not use the BR tag to create margins between paragraphs. Instead, we maximize the use of the P element. We wrap the text using the P elements and use the CSS margin property to control their size. So here in our project, I would want to go and apply some line breaks so that we can go and see it inside of our document. So let me just go and look at our project here. Let's refresh. So at least we'll have some line breaks here. I also want to put a line break at the end of this sentence. So let's go and try to do that. So let me just look for that part. So there you are. So let's go and have that here just for visual clues. At least we'll have better reading even inside of our HTML document. So let me just go and refresh our project here. Let's see what will happen. So later on, I want to put this place on the center of the document together with the header here. Now let's go back to our document here. I want to give this an ID of paragraph dash dash 1, and I want to go up here. So at least we can reference that paragraph dash dash 1. Let's save that, and I want to go and remove the text indent. I want that to be 0, and the display I want to go and keep it at I want to give it a display block value, and I want to change the color of the text to RGB 11-9148, and I want to text align the content centered. So let's save that. Let's now go check how it looks like in our document here. So now it's in the center part of our document. I want to go and place the about me header here to the center. So let's go back to our code here. Let's give it a class name, and we know that it is inside of the about section. So let's go give it an about block element, about h1 or heading. So at least it will be a lot easier for us to identify that this is part of the about section that we have here. Then let's go under the about section here. Then let's select that and then go and text align the text centered, and I want to go and give it a color of brown. So let's save that, and then let's go back to our document. Let's see how it will look like. So it's in the center now together with the paragraph that we have here. Now let's go back to our code editor here. We can go and put some sectioning here. If paragraph styling, depending on how it will be a lot easier on your part for you to be able to go back to certain parts of your document, you can actually go and give this an about block element modifier version. So at least, or you can shorten this out and you just go and give this a p dash dash 1. So at least you will be able to identify that this is actually a paragraph that is inside of the about section. So you can actually have this naming convention here if you want. But again, when it comes to naming your classes, that can be customizable, but I prefer using the block element modifier. So we have the block here, the element, which is the paragraph, and then the modifier, which is the paragraph 1. Okay, so I gave a version of a number 1 here, so that I would know that there are general styling for the paragraph, and then I have block element modifier versions for the paragraph elements. Just don't worry too much about the BEM model, because this is a fundamental course. Again, this is more a little bit advanced. So this is just a naming convention. If you want, you can go and read about it. BEM. This is just how I prefer to describe the content of my document. So at least it will be a lot easier for me to go back to each of the sections and try to look for what should I be changing, or where should I be changing certain parts of my document. Now, because we changed this here, we have to go back here inside of our paragraph here and change that to about P1. Okay, I just wanted to actually give you an idea about the BEM model here. Now, let's go back to putting some other break elements inside of our paragraphs here. So we're good with our first document, or first part of our section here. We were able to center this. We can actually already remove the the styling that we've placed here for us to have an initial idea on where the about me section is. So let's go and remove the background color here. So let's go and go back to our document here. Let me just go and remove this background color, so at least we will just be having the regular background color here. So at least the text will be more visible if we are using the regular background color of the body element. Now let's go down here in our original story section and let's apply some break elements inside of our document here. So let's go and go back to our code editor here and look for our section here. So we have here the aside section, and we actually also have here the article sections. So let's go and apply some break tags inside of our first article, or the title of our first story here. So let's see where can we go and apply this. Let's just go back here. Perhaps here will be good enough, and then put a line break for better readability inside of our code here. So let me just save that. Let's look it up in our document here. So we can see that that's here, and we have another one here that we can actually go and create another line break. Let's go and place that at the end of the sentence here, line break. Just remember, if you, by the way, for each of the line breaks, you can put the forward slash so that it will be complying with the XHTML version requirements. Now let's go check our document again. Let's refresh. So at least we will have this part of the story on this side. Let's just go change this later on, depending on how much space do we want to occupy for the paragraphs and for the aside, when we place the aside element that we have here on this side of the browser. So let me just go adjust the line break here that I made here. So at least we can go, and so you would see here, everyone, that it doesn't, the line break that we make here inside of our document will not be affecting the line breaks that we will be applying inside of our document here. So let me just show you that will not be affecting. So even if I put it here, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15, let's say 15 words, and let's see what will that look like inside of our document here. You would see that the white space that we made inside of our code editor here did not affect the display on our browser. So technically, the line breaks will be applied based from where we place the BR tag here on our browser, and it will not be based from the line breaks that we've made inside of our code editor here. So you would see that we have a line break here in the end of the sentence, but I applied the line break up to 15 words from the lorem ipsum dummy text that we have here. So the line break here from our code editor will not be the one that will be followed by the browser. Instead, it will be the line break that we made that occupied at least 15 words of the lorem ipsum dummy text. So let me just go and remove this here, and let's go and put it somewhere around here. Let's save that. Let me just go see how will that look like. Now I want this to be also here, so we'll just get some text from this part, and then we'll copy some text from this part to this part. Okay, so I just wanted to go and so let's just go and occupy, let's go get all of the text here. Let's see what that will look like. Okay, so I'll go get some text from this part of the document because I want it to be at least three line breaks here. So let's just go and do that. Let's go get some text from here. Perhaps one part of this will be placed here. So this is just some how I usually do it, guys. So at least you'll have an idea how I work when I'm doing my projects. Let's go to the word suscipit here. This might be different in your code editor, everyone, because the lorem ipsum text is random text. So you have to be the one to try to work out on how it will look in your document. So that's just one of my tip, guys. So because this is just a template text, guys, we don't need to make our life so difficult. So now that I have 3 lines here, what I can do is I can go back to my code editor and then maximize the use of this paragraph element and replace the lorem ipsum here. Okay, so let me just go and format the document. Let's see how that will be formatted by our code editor here. So we now have a much better viewable content here. So instead of copying that again, so let me just save that first, and then let's see it in our browser on how it will look like. So we have 2 paragraphs now here. Okay, so let's go and apply that inside of our other 2 articles here. So we have the title of the story too. So let's just go and copy that here and here, and let's see how will that look like in our document. So now the only thing that we need to do is to put all of the aside elements that has a paragraph here on this side of our document. Before we go and do that and place the lorem ipsum text here or the paragraph inside of our aside element, you would see that it's inside of the aside element because once we select it inside of our developer tools, you would see that the paragraph is nested inside of the aside element that we have here. Now let's go back to our code editor here and then go to our article element and give it a class. So let's go and give it a class of children's stories article. Okay, so let me just go and copy this for each of the article elements that we have here so that we can go and reference it. I'm sorry, not the aside element here. We need to go to the article, and then let's go to our style sheet here and then children's stories section. Let's go put the class name that we have here that we've given our article section. So let's save that. Now let's go and give this a background color of RGBA 337 97 0.767 opacity. So let's look at our document here, how that will look like. So let's go check. So that will be our paragraph element. And now I want the width to be only around 65%, or will only be occupying this part of the browser. So let's go back to our code editor here. So let's go give it a width of 65%. So let's go back to our project. Let's see how that will look like. Okay, so I think that's good. Now let's go and apply some padding to the left side. So let's go here and look for our article class here. So let's give it a padding of left 25 pixels. Now let's go back to our document. Let's look how that will look like. So we have some padding from the left side. Now what I want to do here is also apply some padding from the bottom. Let's go back to our document here. Let's see how that will look like if we give it a padding of at least 5 pixels. Let's see our document here. Now we can see that we have a padding of 5 pixels at the bottom. Then let's give and apply some of the things that we also learned last time. So let's go and apply border radius and give it a border radius of at least 5 pixels. So let's open our document here again. You will see that I'm moving from one task to another task, or at least you would really see that we are able to apply the changes. So we can see now that we have a 5 pixel border radius on each sides of the box that we have here in our project. I'm hoping you're getting the idea on how we are applying some of the lessons that we have already discussed previously for each of the elements, and now we are able to apply them here in our project. And we can see now that this is more, it's starting to look like a website, not that extravagant. As I've said, this is not a responsive web design course, it's more on a fundamental course. I just really wanted to go and show you that the things that we have discussed in the previous videos or lessons are now elements that we can use for our project here, and we are starting to build the architecture of our website. So that will be all for now. See you on the next lesson.